Let's be real about adversity.
Good one. Good one. Good to see y'all, man. Good to see y'all.
Man,
Outside
it's
of trying to
Stranger
open up.
danger. Stranger danger.
I feel like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
It feels like an eternity.
All right, man. Let's get on and get it started with the NBA.
All right. So it's been quite a few weeks. A lot has happened in the NBA world. Upsets that have happened. People have been dropping 40 and 50-point games here and there. So we're going to rewind just a little bit to talk about the NBA semifinals in the playoffs, and then we'll catch up and talk about what's currently going on in the conference finals right now. So just to make it real quick, let's start off with the Clippers and the Jazz. Like, what were you guys' thoughts and opinions about that one? The Jazz jumped out to a quick 2-0 lead. And then the Clippers, with missing Kawhi Leonard, charged back and, took the game in 6. So, in the order that's on the screen right now, what were you guys' thoughts about that particular series?
I wish I could pull not what Soulja Boy did last night, but what he did on the Breakfast Club. Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. What? That's my takeaway.
I like it.
I think they like me. So I guess two takes. One, the Clippers were truly the better team in that type of scenario. But I think the bigger take about this is the Jazz just don't have enough yet to get over where they need to be. And so until that happens, Jazz Nation, D Wade, figure it out. But Donovan Mitchell cannot be your number one option to go ahead to the Western Conference Finals and win a championship.
The Jazz are who we thought they were. Let's just keep it 100. As much as we give flack to Rudy Gobert for him getting torched in Game 6 by Terrence Mann, we got to throw some shade to Quinn Snyder too for failing to make that adjustment as this was happening. So the Jazz who we thought they were, man, and let's just keep that moving.
Sheedy, just to be real quick, I have to just disagree. I actually think that Donovan Mitchell can be a number one scoring option on the team. I think that Coach Snyder and the Jazz are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with Rudy Gobert, because if you look at how the playoffs are now, people like the Rudy Gobert, people like the Dwight Howards of the world who can't hit a jump shot are pretty much, you can't put them on the court. And like, look at DeAndre Jordan. He didn't play for the Nets, a second, but he could have been used to help. So I think that the Jazz got to figure that out. But just to keep it moving, man, I told y'all last year, y'all better be nice to Paul George.
I'll leave that where we'll get Paul George's name will come up in a second. But I think to what Sharky said and to what Trevor said too, like Rudy Gobert, Jesus Christ, like I think we on this podcast have talked, relentlessly about Rudy Gobert and his ability to play defense. So I think if anything, you got to give Tyronn Lue credit for being able to find that weakness, I guess, with the Jazz and to be able to exploit it, in which he did. And to your point, Trevor, Quinn Snyder not making that adjustment, like him just willingly saying, okay, I guess I'll just let Rudy Gobert get torched instead of swapping him out with either Joe Ingles, who I feel like could have played a lot more because Mike Conley wasn't ready for Game 6. Jordan Clarkson, who was able to give them a spark off the bench as well too. He could have been able to replace Rudy Gobert with one of those players, because it's not like the Clippers were running out, several 7-footers out there. So I think he could have made more of an adjustment to I guess to line up with the Clippers. But I think that was not the Clippers, but the Jazz is like one lone shot to get to the finals, and I think they've missed a really, really good window. So I guess we'll leave that where it lay. Sucks that the Jazz didn't, advance further. But we'll talk about the next series in the Western Conference Finals. the Phoenix Suns made quick work of the Denver Nuggets. So same order. What were you guys' thoughts? We can keep it just as quick as that series was, too.
Shout out to, he called the Suns. I mean, we should have known better, but hey, we did. It is what it is. Shout out to the Suns. Hope they get to the finals. And Nuggets, you just got too many injuries. I mean, we'll see them again next year when Jamal Murray, everybody get back.
Yeah, too many injuries, and like the timing was off when trying to adjust people back in, like Will Barton and things like that. But I'm here to give kudos to the Phoenix Suns for that was what they played 9 games, and in 9 games you only lost 1 in the playoffs up to that point. So kudos to what the Suns are doing. Not even just the Chris Paul effect, but Aiden was huge that series, but Devin Booker was going off during that series along with their role players as well. So shout out to the Suns and to the Nuggets. Try again next year for sure with a healthier lineup, but that just goes to show you never know what's going to happen in any given time, and you always need to be ready. And nothing against the Nuggets. They just, I mean, as you continue to advance in the playoffs, the teams are going to get better. And they're not going, and the Nuggets are not going to get better because of the injuries. So, kudos to the Suns.
Yeah, kudos to the Suns. Indeed, they made slight work of the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets, as everybody has previously mentioned, too many injuries leading up into that series. But I think going forward, what Denver needs to look to find, and they're hoping they can get this with Michael Porter Jr., is they need another guy outside of Jamal Murray that when things breaks down, who can go get you a basket. Now, I get it. MPJ is not there yet. I believe this is just his second full season of playing in the NBA and being in the playoffs. But once Jamal Murray went down, you knew it was just only a matter of time before that injury started to take effect and affect the Nuggets as a whole. Then not to mention Will Barton and a couple other pieces being out as well. So kudos to the Suns here, and the Nuggets, you need another bucket getter. And just hope MPJ takes that next step.
I agree 100% with that, Trev. And I think that for the Nuggets, they do have to find that backcourt mate with Jamal Murray. That's what Gary Harris was supposed to be. Of course, he didn't plan out. And I think that, of course, them adding Aaron Gordon made them a better team inside, but you do take away one of the better scorers. So I think that needs to be priority number 1 for Denver this offseason. But, of course, injuries played a factor. Michael Porter Jr. is a hell of a lot better this season, and I can't wait to see how he improves next season. As far as Phoenix go,
No, go ahead. Finish your point because I have a short one after that.
I mean, keep it short. You know what I'm saying? Is
it safe to say that the Magic won that trade for
that
Aaron
the Magic
Gordon?
won? No, because we hadn't seen what the Nuggets look like healthy. Like, the reason I said that Aaron Gordon was going to be effective was with Jokic, and we saw that happen for them to maintain a number 3 seed in the Western Conference.
We literally just talked about this series, and neither one of us brought Aaron Gordon's name up.
I mean, yeah, but injuries was the number 1 thing too, though, bro.
The trade wasn't. Aaron Gordon was expected to be the second guy. Nothing.
Okay.
Once we see a healthy Nuggets, I guarantee you we're gonna see a better Nuggets team overall.
All right, we'll see.
We'll put that on the board.
All right.
Call me crazy, but the biggest thing that I learned from this series had nothing to do with either one of the teams that played in the series. The biggest thing that I learned in this series is the Portland Trailblazers are trash when it comes to defense. Because if anything, I think all of us going into that series said, "Oh, okay, Monte Morris is playing like that. Oh, Michael Porter Jr. is playing like that. Campazzo is playing like that." That at least gives you, I mean, even if you were leading Phoenix and, whatever number, you're willing to give the Nuggets, a game or two, right? Like Monte Morris, Jesus Christ, was he in that series? Michael Porter Jr. played trash. And so as I watched that series, I'm like, damn, the Trailblazers suck at defense. Like, that was my long thing the entire time I watched that series, because I couldn't imagine how they went off, how the Nuggets backcourt, whether it was Monte Morris, Austin Rivers looked great, MPJ looked great, but then they looked totally irrelevant, like, in that next series. Now, granted, you give some of that to the Phoenix Suns defense, but still, it was just like, damn, like, Portland is that bad defensively. That was the thing that I just couldn't get out of my head. So, I'm sorry. Like hopefully the Trailblazers do better. With Chauncey Billups as their head coach. I know we'll get to that in a second, but that was the thing that kind of stuck out for me. Next we have here we go. Now this is where things got interesting. We have the Atlanta Hawks who took on the Philadelphia 76ers and beat them in game 7 on the road. So same order. I would love to hear you guys' take on this series.
Ben Simmons, my boy. I'll talk about you in a second. Shout out to Trae Young. National media, that's all I talking about is Ben Simmons, Philadelphia, yada, yada. Trae Young, give the man his respect. Give the man his flowers. He's still doing it now. We'll talk about this series in a second. But shout out to Trae Young. Kevin Herter in that video, whoever created that video. Welcome to Atlanta beat, and they switched that joint.
That was great.
Perfect. Great. Hilarious. Funniest stuff I've seen in a while. But man, shout out to Atlanta. Shout out to Clint Capella, John Collins, bro. He a problem.
He's a problem.
He's a problem.
Just don't try to jump over prosthetic airplanes, then you good. So,
but in Philly, Joel Embiid gave it all he could. I mean, you playing on a partially torn ACL, hey, and you still averaging 30 something. You need your second superstar to give you something. Ben Simmons needs you at least work on free throws. Or work on his psyche. I don't know, it's mental health or something, because he was a bad free throw shooter, but he wasn't 30% bad. He was about 60% throughout the season. So there's something that's mental. That's not just your shooting.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm actually gonna start a little bit differently. I'm gonna start with the Hawks, but it's time for the Hawks to go ahead and remove that interim tag on Nate McMillan and go ahead and sign him up for at least 5 to 6 years for them. The reason why the Hawks won that series, yes, is Trae Young, but Doc Rivers got out coached again by a black coach, by Nate McMillan. Shout out to my man Red Velvet, who got his grace from D Wade as well. So I'm definitely gonna give that shout out. I know we're gonna talk about the 76ers here in a moment, so I don't want to give them my breath at this moment. I want to give kudos to the Hawks. They should have actually won the series in 6, to be honest, and really made the thing. And I'm gonna leave the rest where it's at, because we're gonna talk about 76ers when it's time. But kudos to the Hawks and keep it up.
Yeah. Well, let me take this time here to publicly on the podcast apologize to the Atlanta Hawks, because I think a lot of us pretty much laughed them off when they made all of the offseason free agent signings that they did to actually go for it and try to make something of the East. Signing Daenerys, signing Mondanovic, trading away Rajon Rondo for Lou Williams, which my idea was probably the best decision they probably made there. And then, of course, ultimately hiring Nate McMillan as their coach. So kudos to Nate McMillan, who should definitely have an extension. Shout out to Atlanta again. Sorry, we did not expect you guys to even be in this position, let alone as a 5 seed in the conference finals. So kudos to y'all. I'm saving everything Philadelphia related for the Philadelphia segment, because it's a lot I got to get off my chest about the 76ers.
I will be with you all when we have that discussion, of course, about the 76ers, because it's inevitable that we do. But for the Hawks, I did pick the Hawks to win in 7 because of my guys on this podcast, my brothers who I listened to when they said that Doc Rivers couldn't coach. Of course, I didn't believe that until I really saw it with my own eyes. And damn it, y'all were right on. So salute to y'all for helping me pick the Hawks to win, because Nate McMillan is a crazy, incredible coach. He knows what it's like to have a dynamic point guard to do what he does and build a great offense around him. And the players that the Hawks got are young, but they hungry. I like the young talent that's coming into the NBA that's not taking any prisoners. That's like, okay, I'm young, but I'm here for the moment, and I'm gonna make it work. And the Hawks, they terrorized the number 1 defensive team in the league, not just in the East, but the entire league. Like, they killed them. So I didn't expect to see much less against the Sixers, to be honest with you. So of course we all laughed at them coming into the season because of course they were young, but like I said, young players are taking over. Salute to Atlanta. They've been turned the whole quarantine. They're about to be turned even more as this series go on. So salute to them. I guess we'll talk about the Sixers, damn it, when we talk about the Sixers.
Right. And for me, I think I was willing to go with you. I picked Philly in 7, but I was willing to go Hawks in 6. But that was solely based on how many games Joel Embiid played, because I just kind of felt like at some point, because I mean, Shark, you just mentioned it, like he was playing on a partially torn ACL, which I think it got worse as the series went on.
All right,
but in the back of my mind,
actually meniscus. I think I got it wrong. That's meniscus, but still, either way.
I just kind of knew that. Yeah, I just knew that at some point he was probably just not going to be able to play a game or two there. But to your point, too, like we all know about Doc Rivers. We have been talking about Doc Rivers for quite some time. And I just knew that at least Doc Rivers could at least push that team enough to get past the Hawks.
Yeah.
And damn, that he proved me wrong yet again. So kudos to the Hawks. Kudos to Trae Young. But this, in my opinion, this is solely about the 76ers. This is solely about, Doc Rivers' inability to get his team ready. Because at the end of the day, and Sharky, you helped me tweet about this pretty much throughout that entire series.
Mm-hmm.
When you are the better team and you give a team that probably isn't up to your level when it comes to the ability to play the game, and when you constantly keep giving them hope, boom, that's what happens. And the Philadelphia 76ers on multiple occasions throughout this series gave the Hawks the at least the mindset to say, okay, we can play with them. And when they kept proving that to them, Philly just for some odd reason just kept backing down. And I think that's partly on Doc Rivers to get that team ready to say, you guys are the better team. You guys really that series shouldn't have been close as much as it was. But that's a Doc Rivers led team for you. So there's that. And then the last conference semifinals game, which was probably one of the best series in quite some time, was the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Went 7. It was very, very good to watch. So again, we'll keep the same order. Sharky, what were your thoughts on that particular series?
In the famous words of I Got Savage, information changes. Yep. Before y'all go about Milwaukee winning, information changed to game 4. Y'all got to acknowledge that. Great. It made the series great, honestly. Even seeing James Harden go out on that hamstring, it kind of showed like he does have that mentality to try and play through and try and, help them out as much as possible. But hey, it came down to the end. I have nothing but respect on both sides. Milwaukee pulled it out. You have to give them. They have to pull it out, man, and they did it. A lot of people don't say nothing. We all giving KD his flowers. Played great. Giannis had 40 points in that game 7 as well. So I didn't hear much about that after the game. So we have to make sure we give them their credit.
Sheedy, before you go, to answer your question about why DeAndre Jordan didn't play. That's why, because they tried to play DeAndre Jordan several times in the regular series against Giannis. That was brother.
And also,
that's why he didn't play.
And Blake Griffin didn't do a half bad job on you.
Agreed.
Giannis is just much better. Blake Griffin pretty much held his own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you want me to be honest, I think Blake Griffin is the reason why the Nets even won the first game, if not even also the second game, because of the spark that he provided for them. To me, this series was, if the Bucks lose this series, Mike Budenholzer should have been suspended from the NBA at that point, if you ask me, because there would have been absolutely no reason why that team that was constructed for him could not go past this Nets team that was without two Hall of Fame players. When they get time and up. Now let's also revisit this. On this podcast alone, we've talked about the Nets gave a game away. So if the Nets don't give a game away, Mike Budenholzer is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to give shout out to KD. That's what I need to give the flowers to. And shout out to Steve Nash as well. And I'm saying that because I'm not saying he out-coached Mike Budenholzer. He just believed in KD and believed in his team more than Mike Budenholzer did. And coaching isn't always X's and O's. Sometimes it's about how you can inspire a team. And I think Steve Nash was able to do that with KD and pull out that Game 5 win. They just couldn't get any more after that. So shout out to them. But the Bucks. J. Rue, you kind of showed up, but you should have been showing up the entire series, my guy, if you ask me. But that would be a different topic.
Oh, I got one more before Trevor go. Shout out to Skyler. Drew Holiday was having a terrible game 7. Really didn't have that good of a series, in my opinion. But he got paid for what he did at the end of game 7, the end of regulation, with those clutch shots. That's where I finally see why he got paid now. Because before that, I was like, where you at?
Better late than never.
To say that, Sharky. I was gonna say that. It's okay.
Better late than never. But I'll go back to Sheedy's point. When this series first started, when Brooklyn went up 2-0 going into Milwaukee, and I think the Bucks got game 3. Verta came out and said, "Well, the Nets just gave them that game." It was like, don't give Milwaukee any kind of games because if you. Because lo and behold, what ended up happening? You went back to Brooklyn 2-2, and of course we got the game 5 for KD, and then of course that eventually lost them the series. I'll give KD his flowers. I'll give Kevin Durant his flowers. He played amazing throughout this entire series. The only question I had was why did he try to guard Giannis on that last possession? But to each his own. I'll just leave it at that. Kudos to the Bucks here. They went and got it. Drew Holiday showed up when he needed to show up. That's why I said better late than never. And shout out to Steve Nash in his first year for not necessarily being the X's and O's of everything, but just having the faith in his guys to even go. Kudos to James Harden. We hope to see this team 100% healthy going into next season. So look out for Brooklyn going forward.
Man, I'm just happy that the world is finally seeing that Kevin Durant is the best player in the league. At this point, you can look how you want to look. There's nothing anybody that can say that convinced me otherwise. Basketball is about putting the ball in the hoop. Nobody done it better. There's nobody doing it better. So I'm gonna just keep it right there with KD. Y'all know how I feel about my boy KD. I want to get kind of serious about. I want to call out the front office of the Brooklyn Nets. And what I mean by that is when you traded for James Harden, which I was against. I liked it, but I was against because you traded away pieces that could have helped you. You traded away Karis LeVert, who played 15 games in a season, but he averaged 20 points a game. You traded away Jared Allen, who I feel like could have been pretty good, pretty decent. And then you traded Taurean Prince, who I feel like could have added defense, for James Harden, who I said was not going to be there for you when it mattered. And what happened? Nowhere to be found when it mattered. So I'm going to call out the front office for the Brooklyn Nets because they messed up, but I do think they have the potential to get it right. And I think that this is when we do have to consider a front office either making or breaking a team. Because who are you going to come in and replace, or to help this team do what they're supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. So, I wouldn't fault the front office there for at least going for it. It just was unfortunate that James Harden got injured with the bad hamstring, even though
every time. Oh, not injury, not injury per se, but he's not going to be there mentally for y'all know what I mean.
Let me help you out. I get what you're saying. You probably didn't know that James Harden would get hurt. You didn't probably know that Kyrie would get hurt. But we've all read this book before. When it comes to the playoffs, James Harden and Kyrie, when he's not playing with LeBron, they don't show up. At the period. Like we all knew that. We've all seen that same story before. So I can see where you're going with that too, Nick.
I wish that Kyrie was healthy instead of James. If Kyrie was there, it would have been a game, probably a 6-7 game series, but Nets would have won.
Yeah, that was the injury that hurt them more so.
Yeah,
James Harden.
Right. And just my take on it, I'm not going to be one of those people that's gloating and say, "Oh, well, I told you Bucks in 7." I'm not going to do that because at the end of the day, I'm like, "Phew, man, I got that one right." But
you're a real one.
Hey, same here.
I'm gonna be real and say that one because see what you just said, Sharky. I think if Kyrie plays, it doesn't even go 6. Well, it goes 6, but it doesn't go 7. It would have been my take on it because they couldn't guard Kyrie to save their life, which is my problem with the Bucks. And it spills kind of over into this series, which they let KD go for 50 multiple times. And I thought the Bucks played defense. I thought the Bucks were better defensively. I thought, maybe Giannis would guard KD 1 to 2 times. But damn, like it just me. I guess how I would play basketball is I'm not gonna keep letting people go off of 50. Period. I'm sorry. There should have been double teams. There should have been traps. There should have been something. And
you're the best player in the game. It come effortlessly.
And
just want it out there.
And And to pick out that point, when he got switched on to KD, he actually did pretty well when he on the switches guarding him.
Exactly.
Right.
Why?
And Took, I get your point. Like, he's probably the best scorer in the league, but I promise, like, let that have been the Lakers. I promise you, he's not going for 50 multiple times. Let that been the Clippers. He's not going for 50 multiple times. You can book that. It was just the Bucks' inability to play defense and adjust, which we've talked about Mike Budenholzer several times.
Fair point.
I'm just saying, I don't think he goes for 50 multiple times.
He'll have 45.
40,
45. He'll have 45.
Not 2 times, though. Not 2 times, though.
All right. This is first year backing off an Achilles injury. Give it time. Greatness take time. Just chill.
All right, so we'll move on to the conference finals. So, of course, the Clippers were able to come back against the Jazz, and they moved on to the conference finals. And then so did the Phoenix Suns. So currently, right now, and again, we're playing catch up with the Suns after last night, which you can call that a good game or you can call that a very bad game. The Phoenix Suns are now up 3-1 against the LA Clippers. So, Sharky, tell me how we got here. Tell me how we got Phoenix Suns up 3-1.
Man, let me show your name.
There
Memphis,
you go.
man.
Yes, sir.
Memphis, man.
Memphis
Campaign for
building.
campaign. Let's go. Last night, I don't know what last night was, but CP3 pulled it out. Mike Breen, shout out to you, bro. They showed Kawhi Leonard. The crowd going crazy. He's like, Kawhi Leonard going crazy. Kawhi Leonard like this.
Hey, that was funny.
That was funny. Dude,
That was funny.
Why just chilling, man? Y'all leave that man alone, like for real.
No, they won a game 6. They were shower tears, man, with the water bottles. Kawhi in the background locker room like this.
Hold on. Paul George, you trash for what you did too. Because I picked up on game. Because when you dumped the water on Terrence Mann, that was Patrick Beverly's foot water. I peeped game on that.
That's not nice.
That's not nice at all.
And speaking of Paul George, I'm not gonna go too crazy on them for those missed free throws in game 2. They still lost on the crazy out of bounds play. That's DeMarcus Cousins not guarding the right area of the inbounds pass. But Paul George, he's been playing well. I mean, we got to give him his credit, but he has came up short in some moments with free throws, even last night. And like I said, last night everybody was off, so I don't even know how you can explain last night's game 4. But the Clippers, I mean, they need Kawhi Leonard. The Suns, even without Chris Paul, they were doing well thanks to campaign. Chris Paul came back, kind of slowed them up, but Clippers are desperate. They're on the road, so it was going to be tough regardless whether Chris Paul came back or not. It's still Chris Paul. I've seen people act like Chris Paul coming back hurt them. Let's be real. That stopped it. But I expect the Suns going to finish them off in 5 unless Kawhi Leonard makes a surprise return and give them some type of energy, but I doubt it.
No, yeah, I do. Shout out to Paul George, man, and this Clippers team. I want to talk about the first 2 games first and then move on to the next 2. Quickly, like I said, I know. So there was the Kawhi-less Clippers, which were led by Paul George, who I think, to me, during this series, has shown that he's a great number 2 option that can substitute to be the number 1 option when necessary. I'm not saying he needs to take over, but he can be there when necessary. But also, they lost the first 2 games to the bubble Suns. And so this is the same team in the bubble, just minus Chris Paul. And to be honest, the series could be 2-2 if DeMarcus Cousins knows, time, tone, and place, what to do. And also, a value. But it's not. It's 3-1. And the Suns need to go ahead and close this out to the point we just made about the Nets and the Bucks series, allowing a game in and giving a team some hope. The Clippers team is always looking for hope. So, again, close this out, Suns, and let's move on. And let's see y'all a small conference or a small market team in the actual finals. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, as much as we give DeMarcus Cousins flack, which rightfully so deserves for the last play in game 2, we got to give Devin Booker credit for setting a great screen there. Like, we got to give kudos to Devin Booker there. Again, the Clippers without Kawhi, I mean, Paul George picked it up nicely, but at the same time, this series should be 2-2. Let's just, for all intents and purposes, the series should be 2-2, but alas, here we are. I do expect Phoenix to close it out on tomorrow in game 5, because I don't think Chris Paul is even going to allow this to even happen. Again, shout out to campaign. And we got to give our flowers to the guy who's been the most consistent guy throughout this entire playoffs, and that's DeAndre Ayton. A lot of questions have been thrown his way when Phoenix took him number 1 overall in 2018, and you've seen it now paying dividends. Like, he's pretty much good for a double-double every single night. I think even last night, I think he had almost a 20-20 game. So kudos to the Suns. It'll be nice to see them in the finals, and I expect them to get there on Monday.
Geez, Trevor, I've been pretty consistent with the Phoenix Suns too.
Okay.
Jeez, Trevor.
I thought y'all were brothers. So I guess.
Okay,
not.
Michael.
Man.
Okay, Michael. Okay, Michael.
But man, with DeAndre Ayton, man, I think we're seeing a flower literally blossom with DeAndre Ayton. We talk about Chris Paul a lot, but like we say, like he said, Chris Paul has affected my career like literally like so much. Like he was a number 1 pick based on potential for sure. But Chris Paul is able to slow the game down for him, which he does. I'm pretty much sure for every teammate that's on the team. Like we talk about Campaign, who's having an amazing series. Like I can't wait to find a Campaign jersey. So you know what I'm saying, I'm definitely get one. But going back to Ayton, like we're seeing a flower blossom. Chris Paul slowed the game down for him, making him that much better. We saw in the Nuggets series how he was able to stop Jokic. Well, not necessarily stop Jokic, but kind of do his thing and get him. Like, and I think him having kind of like a smaller frame helps with the quickness with that. So seeing him be able to evolve his game has been beautiful to see. Devin Booker, I mean, people calling him the next Kobe. I'll wait and chill on that.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have that mentality that he will take over a game and damn it, give him the ball at the end and get out the way. So the Suns are definitely doing their thing, and I can't wait to see them in the NBA Finals. So now y'all gotta get used to me bragging about how I brought Phoenix a championship. So get ready, get ready, brothers.
So for those on the podcast that say, you know, that the Clippers should be up 2-2, there's a big case that could be made that the Clippers, in my opinion, really should be up 3-1. The reason why the Clippers, in my opinion, aren't 3-1 is the same thing that I've been saying about the Clippers going back before the playoffs, going back to the regular season, is their inability to close. They cannot close. I don't care if Paul Leonard's in the lineup. I don't care if Paul George is in or out of the lineup. I don't care, you know, if Rajon Rondo is running point, whatever the case may be. The Clippers cannot close. And you saw that put to the test on yesterday, which if you watch their fourth quarter game, again, fourth quarter was trash last night, but the door was left wide open for the Clippers. Again, I know you're without Kawhi Leonard, and I know you're trying to, you know, maneuver pieces and stuff here, but they had ample opportunity to take their game yesterday. They had ample opportunity to take game 2, and regardless of, you know, Devin Booker going off for 40, there could have been a case made for the Clippers to grab game 1 as well. They just can't close. They can't make free throws when it's time to make free throws. They can't get stops when it's time for them to get stops. And that's interesting coming from a team who people say had the best 2 wing defenders, you know, since Michael and Pippen. They can't close. And that's the reason, in my opinion, why the Suns are up 3-1. If they've been able to get more stops, they've been able to close and make free throws when it's time for them to make it. So we'll see. And so with that, we'll actually go to the Eastern Conference Finals, where the series is tied 2-2. Atlanta grabbed game 1 from Milwaukee, and then Milwaukee blew them out in game 2. So granted, we kind of, in a sense, know how the Western Conference Finals is going to end. Go ahead, Trevor.
It's 2.
It's
I think
1-1.
it's 1-1 right now. Game 3 is tonight.
Right. Yeah. So it's 1-1. So you guys can tell me, you know, who you guys think will win the series. You know, who you guys think will win the series, and maybe even how many games. So same order.
All right, Mike Budenholzer's job ain't safe yet.
Thank you. Come on.
Let's get this. Let's get that. Let's get that now. When he lost in game 1, I was like, you better not lose to Atlanta. If you lost to Philadelphia, you would have been still been the Bucks head coach. You lose to Atlanta.
It's about work. It's about
yeah. I'm gonna pick Milwaukee. They should win the series. I'm gonna give them 6 games. But Atlanta in the game 1, they showed me something. But I think game 2 showed that as long as Milwaukee play the way they're supposed to play, they should win the series pretty easily. But I give Atlanta another one just for their grit they showed in game 1. Trae Young, he's built for it. I have no more questions about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we go again, giving away games. But I think the Bucks weren't ready for game one as much as the Hawks want to go to the finals. So to me, the Hawks in game one saw their opportunity to actually, we need to take this game and take on, some other games, right? But we need to win game one. Where the Bucks were, for me, their mindset was we just need to win this series. And with winning the series, you got to win the game. And so their mind wasn't there for game one. They brought it back game two. Without a doubt. And that's the type of Milwaukee Bucks team that I thought that this team had. Now, I does Nate McMillan and the A give Atlanta another game? Possibly. But this should be closed out within 6. Hey, Atlanta, you can make it go 6 for me, though. I'll be there in Atlanta for the 6th game. So I'll be okay with that. But definitely kudos to the guys. But the Bucks, as long as y'all play how y'all played last night and you know who you are, Giannis, no one on that court can guard you at all. I'm not even going to lie. I don't believe anyone can guard you that's left in the Eastern Conference. And I would like to say this. I would like to see a lot more Brook Lopez, of all people, get some work. The same way he gave the Heat work for 15 and 7 through that series, he can give Clint Capella some work. That's all I got to say.
Well, unfortunately, Sheedy, I hate to say it, but it's not going to be a 6 game in Atlanta. I expect the Bucks to close this out in 5. I think they got caught slipping in game 1 and just treated the game. I think, as everyone on TNT said, they treated the game like it was a regular season game instead of treating it as this is the Eastern Conference Finals. If game 2 shows you anything, it's that there's no one that wears an Atlanta Hawks jersey that can stop them. Like I said for Joel Embiid, I'll say the same thing for Giannis. You can go get Quavo, you can get all the Migos, you can get Future, you can get whoever to try to guard Giannis. There's nobody on the Hawks that can stay in front of Giannis. And I expect the Bucks to take this momentum from game 2, in which they handled Atlanta pretty easily because they took game 1 a little disrespectfully, especially with Trae Young with the shimmy and everything. I expect the Bucks to close this out in 5. 4 straight for them. I just don't see. If the Hawks get another one, hey, kudos. But Bucks in 5. I can't.
You gotta say shimmy like little Boosie, man. The shimmy.
There you go.
With the shimmy.
There you go.
I think that you all are underestimating the Atlanta Hawks. For one, I see a game 7. And the reason why I do see a game 7 is the reason why I had them beating the Sixers, like coaching. Coach Budenholzer has showed us multiple times that what he is. And like y'all, I'm listening to my brothers. I love y'all, so I listen to y'all. Y'all my guys. Right? The Hawks were able to thrash the number 1 defensive team, right? They were able to get past a Philly team. Now we talk about the Bucks, who it should be their time. It should be their time. I want them to go to the NBA Finals, but I don't think that the leadership is right yet. Drew Holiday is doing his thing. I actually tweeted that he would be the reason why they make it over the hump. So I may have, manifested them being the Nets, but that's neither here and there. But if Drew Holiday is able to be himself, that'd be great. I don't believe in Middleton, because he showed us one time and time again who he is. Lito, I'm with you on that. He showed us time and time again who he is.
Except game 7 at the end.
I mean, that's why I see a game 7, though.
Yeah.
That's why I see a game 7.
And game 6 to get from game 7 against the Knicks.
Yeah,
man.
Hey,
let's not disrespect Nate McMillan, who knows what the hell he's doing. The Hawks, who straight up believes in Trae Young, who's just having fun. They're having fun playing basketball. And I think that in a time like this, like that's all you can really ask for, especially when you're a young Hawks team. So I do see a game 7, and I hate to even say that I see the Bucks winning game 7 because I really don't want to. But this is me pointing at Coach Bud, because Giannis is gonna play. Giannis is gonna be there. We saw that last series. You know what I'm saying? KD would lit him up for 50, but Giannis was right there as well. So Giannis is gonna be there. Drew Holiday is gonna be there. Who else is gonna be there for them to get to the NBA Finals?
Damn, I hate y'all. I love y'all, but y'all taking.
Hey man, we good at what we do, bro.
We
Gotta make sure
We good at what we do, bro.
gotta switch the order and make you go
Right.
first.
Sorry, I think you said it. Mike Budenholzer isn't off the hot seat. I think if you lose this series, it's about just as bad as if you lose to the Nets in the previous round. Because this is a series where, again, we're all in a sense in agreement where the Bucks should win this, and for the most part, they should win this fairly easily. But you cannot come out in the manner in which you did at game one and expect to win, expect to get to the finals, because clearly the Hawks want it just as much as you do. And again, we said it about the Hawks and the Sixers. Like, you give a team a hope. Good luck doing that. You should at least put your foot on their neck as quickly as you can. Let them know, like, we're the better team. We're going to get this over as quickly as possible, and there's nothing that y'all can do about it. But again, the Bucks allowed the Hawks to win game one, and you clearly keep seeing Trae Young like, okay, let's take it back to the A. Let's take it back to the A. And then I'm gonna come right down your alley too. Like, Grant, Giannis is gonna play how Giannis has played. Giannis is gonna get 30, he's gonna get 40. But if you look at pretty much every game that the Bucks have won, Chris Middleton has played well. It's not just Giannis going for 30 and 40, it's how well as Chris Middleton is playing. And if you look at Chris Middleton's stats for this particular postseason, he plays much better at home than he does on the road. This game was hard to tell y'all.
Game one. Game one was the exception.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll give you that one. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go.
Speak from the heart, brother. Speak from the heart.
Are you trying to guess what game we're going to end this on? We all said Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You're trying to say
we all said Milwaukee.
I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to be right in this. So I'm going to go Milwaukee in 7, because I believe at some point, and they keep making me mad when they do this. They just don't adjust defensively, and I feel like there's going to be another game where Trae Young goes off again for 30 or 40, and they won't make the necessary adjustment to do that.
Tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If Phoenix Suns gonna have plenty of rest, golly, if they close out the Clippers in 5, they don't even play game 4 yet.
Yeah, I don't understand like that
free.
Yeah, the schedule they should.
Yeah, they started like the conference finals like early, and I think the Bucks and the Nets were like going to game 7.
Yeah,
around the time they
started. Game 1. Yep, game 1.
And they're game 6. And but the problem is like if all of the like there should be a stopping point for Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals to be at. No matter what happens, if you got swept, okay, cool, you get this whole week off. If you didn't get swept, you got a day rest. Go ahead.
Knowing what they do, I thought when game 3 happened, I thought they would play game. I thought they would just give them 3 days off and play game 3 last night instead of game 4. Instead of game 3 Thursday and game 4 last night. Then they would have matched up. But since they just kept going, he made it off.
They try and get all this stuff all in and get it all out because
messed the Clippers up.
Yeah,
because the Clippers had the game 7. Then they play game 1 2 days later.
Look, Space Jam better be a hell of a movie.
My bad, Trevor. What you were saying?
No, I was just gonna say because you have the draft coming up soon. Then you got Summer League that's supposed to start in July as well. So they try
Olympics.
Yep, as well as the Olympics. So you're trying to get all of that and be on those schedules. So you can understand why things are looking the way they are as far as scheduling.
All right, too.
It's on me, man. What do I have to talk about? Because y'all just looking at me like y'all just got a lot that y'all need to say and get off y'all chest. So I'm gonna give y'all the time. This
we
time
in the
to have
conference
that.
room, bro. We in the conference room, bro. It's on you.
I got you, man. So it's time for us to have that talk about a player who I actually love to watch still. His mental's not there. We talked about him, the earlier in the pod. He's called a LeBron 2.0 by some. He's just a 6'11" point guard who just can't shoot. And that is Ben Simmons. So first, how do y'all feel about the player that Ben Simmons is? And for 2, do you see him playing with the 76ers next season?
All right. So for years, everybody been saying Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid can't play together. I've actually always disputed that, dog. You just have to get the right coach and shooting around him. I felt like they did that this year, and I finally got my answer. Everybody was right. They can't play together because then Simmons can't develop a mid-range shot. I've been saying he ain't got to do a mid-range. That's what you just need. He can't. He's not. And then the free throws was. I said it earlier. The free throws was the worst thing in this time. I don't know if that's mental. Like he's already not a good free throw shooter, but he's not 30% bad free throw shooter. He's more like a 60%. For you to go drop from 60 to 30, that's mental. He was scared. He had wide open dunking and dunking past it. So it's something I think he need. And Philadelphia, Philadelphia is rough. The fans, the media, they rough up there. Ben Simmons might just can't handle it. And I think he'd just be better off somewhere else. I know it's argument. We had an argument about like Embiid or Simmons, choose one. I think we got our answer in my opinion. You can say injuries. Embiid has been there every single playoffs. Remember last year, Ben Simmons missed playoffs. Embiid was playing. Every single time they were in playoffs, Embiid has played all playoff games. Outside this year, he missed the last game in the Wizards series. And he played on a partially torn AC meniscus and still averaged 30. So to me, I think we got our answer. And they need to get what they can get from Ben Simmons and just a fresh start for both sides. I still think Ben Simmons is a good NBA player. He just need to be in the right situation. He's just not. He's not.
You got a team that you can see him on.
I mean, there's plenty of teams that could use like Portland. If he could play, put him at the 4, play next to Dame. Golden State, but I don't think him and Draymond can play together. With that shooting. So you got to get rid of Draymond. You got to get rid of Draymond to get him.
Draymond gonna chew him out, bro.
That's what I said. They gotta play together. They one the shooting. You can't have 2 shooters like that on the court. I don't care how good Stephen Clay is shooting. You
agree.
It's 3 on 5.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, he's still an all-star. But those are 2 things that I guess first come to mind that could use them, specifically Portland. Their defense. That's somebody could use.
So I'm gonna let Skylar go because I don't want us all to take his answers again. So go ahead, Skylar.
Well, mine has been taken already, but I can shape it. Go ahead, Skylar.
I'll just say, he does. For me, Ben Simmons, like he doesn't necessarily like if he doesn't develop a jump shot, then I think it's not the end of the world because he can show you he can do multiple things on the floor, whether that's play defense, sit up shooters, to get open shots. But if you aren't going to take a jump, at least get to the rim. Like do what Giannis does. Just say, you know what, nobody on this floor can stay in front of me. I'm just going to get to the rim. He's not even doing that, bro. Like that's my thing. Like at least get to the rim, and then and then talking about free throw shooting. Like I'm sorry, there's no excuse for that. Like Sever says all the time, at least be able to shoot 75% from the free throw line. Gee, he's not even close to that.
He's like Musa.
Just practice your free throws.
Musa C-Say.
Like that's terrible. So I don't know. Like for me, it's frustrating because he has, in my opinion, he has a bunch of talent, but I'm not sure what he's doing in the offseason. Or what he's not doing in the offseason, which could really help his game. But to answer your question too, I don't foresee him being on the Sixers next season. But if you still ask me, I would trade Joel Embiid before I trade Ben Simmons. Just me personally, because you can get more back for Joel.
Get more, yeah. Yep. That's a good point. Great point.
I would trade Joel Embiid.
And I let this MFer go before me, and he takes my point. God,
no, make your point, G.
You did it to yourself.
Yeah, you should have just said something.
Just make your point.
Don't get fair, homie. You done let another man eat. That's your fault.
Right.
That's cool. So I'm gonna go backwards then. Teams that could have traded for Ben Simmons could have been the Raptors. Could have been with the Raptors. Trade for Kyle Lowry. He could have been with the Nets, traded for James Harden, but they didn't want to give him up.
Houston.
And Houston, my fault.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. And I don't believe Simmons goes anywhere because to your point, Skylar, Joel Embiid, who is entering his 4th, 5th season maybe next season, who is injury prone, but you're going to get the most bang for your buck for a runner-up in the MVP race than you are to a runner-up to the Defensive Player of the Year race. And so go out and trade Joel. The team looked decent without him against the Wizards, to be honest. But who knows what you'll get back. with that. Ben Simmons is not a terrible player. There are other players that have terrible jump shots and don't shoot free throws well. You have to stick to your strengths. What are you great at? You're good at getting to the rim and finishing is what I thought you were getting drafted for. So just prove that. And the front office, when it's the off season, which is now for you all, you should be in the gym with him to work on his strengths, not his weaknesses. He's not going to get better with a jump shot. Very rarely do you see players get better with their jump shots over time. The one player that I know that was freakishly athletic, but developed a great jump shot, and I'm going to pass over to Trevor after this one, was my man Vince Carter. Vince Carter can jump out the gym, and then in the later part of his years, was hitting them corner threes for the Mavericks and other teams.
And Grizzlies.
And Memphis.
And Grizzlies, of course. And so that's what I say for that one. But yeah, keep Ben, trade Joel, and find the bank for that.
Before the season started, when James Harden requested a trade, I was the very first one to hop on and say Harden to Philly. Like, this was a no-brainer that you needed to make. You throw Ben Simmons in that deal, and whatever Houston wants with Ben Simmons, you just give them to get James Harden. And I honestly believe, health permitting, if James Harden is 100% healthy, if he's on the 76ers, we're talking about them in the conference finals right now instead of the Atlanta Hawks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Second thing with my gripe with Philadelphia's front office, Ben Simmons is a legit power forward that they're trying to masquerade as this big-time 6'10" guard. Like, Ben Simmons is great in his role as far as defensively is concerned because he can guard 1 through 4 pretty much. He's pretty good on the defensive end. I'll give him that. But on the offensive end, he should be a guy that keeps the offense moving. He should be a guy that's setting screens, rim runs, because we know he can finish at the rim pretty decent. Like, rim running, setting screens, and you're just so happy that you can dribble. That's pretty much how you can be used. But on this team, like, you're throwing the spacing off because you're not giving Joel enough room to operate. You have 3 shooters around, but let's just be honest, that the person that's guarding you is just going to help off of you to help close out on the shooters or double team Joel. Let's just be honest there. So do I think Ben Simmons is still good? Yes, absolutely. He's proven that he can be. Fixing the jump shot maybe may not happen, but you can at least up your free throw percentage. At least get it back to the 50s, possibly the 60s. 60th percentile.
And that's still bad. That's the sad part.
I mean, that's still bad, but it's an improvement from where he was this past season, which was around in the 30s, especially in the postseason. The ideal thing would be to trade Ben Simmons because you kind of want to keep that contender, because your Philly's contention for possibly a championship really depends on is the same as Joel Embiid's window. So if you're looking to keep that window open, the ideal thing would be to trade Ben Simmons, but I don't think they're going to. And at this point, Joel's just asked to go. Philly doesn't deserve him at this point. Like, how many times is this is going to happen? So, if honestly and truthfully, if they're going to keep Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid needs to be in the front office the next day asking for out, because Joel is entering year 7. Actually, it'll be like kind of like year 5, year 6 of actually that since he's played, but he's entering year 7. And let's be real, for a guy his stature with all his injuries, and then of course by him being a big man, he has 1, maybe 2 seasons left within his prime. So if I'm Philly, it's a tough call to make. But if you're trying to keep your window open and contend, you may want to see what you can get for Ben Simmons. But if you're looking to just build around Ben Simmons, Joel should ask out. You should be looking to flip Embiid, because I think you actually would get. I agree with you guys. You get more for Embiid as you probably would for Ben Simmons. But yeah, that's my take.
I'd agree. I couldn't agree more with you, Trev. They definitely do have to make a decision. Yeah, it is the time. It's not the same. The vibes that I get when I said that the Clippers should keep Paul George. You know how y'all was saying that the Clippers should just trade Paul George last season. It's not the vibes because Kawhi is there and he actually wanted Paul George to be there, and it was only the first season. Let's give it time, right? Well, time has been, on Philly side for the longest, and I think now it's like we're out of time. The same thing as I said about, how the Rockets, ironically, if you wait too long to trade James Harden, the value for him is gonna get lower. I think right now would be the better time to trade Ben Simmons. Really just because you got to show Embiid that the process started with him and is going to continue with him. Like you said, if I'm Embiid and I see that we're going to keep Ben Simmons, a player that I see that I can't succeed with my 7-8 years into the league, then I got to see what else is out for me. And I'm not sure what Joel Embiid's contract is looking like, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna have to re-up very soon. So I would trade Ben Simmons. Of course, I like to trade him to the Warriors. So welcome to the Warriors, but essentially him and Draymond are the same players. It'll be fun to watch them play together. But of course, Ben Simmons more athletic, of course. But as far as like getting the rebounds and defending and pushing a break, like that's something Draymond is great at. Probably one of the best in the league at. I think Ben Simmons got to be used the same way as that point power forward, point center. Like, and now is the time that you start experimenting Ben Simmons at center. We see it work with Kevin Durant. We see, what I'm saying, and it's about that time. Like he's 6'11". He's get his ass in the paint, let him do the work. If he can't shoot, okay, Sheedy hit it right on the head. Let's continue to develop his strengths. He's just not a shooter. Cool. But what he is a facilitator who you can use a 5-out offense with, especially at the top of the key facilitating. And I think that's where the game's going anyway. But for two, and just real important, I think a change in scenery would do Ben Simmons great. The change in energy is everything to me, and a change in that would suffice. Like we see Markelle Fultz, who had an amazing season last year before he went down. You know what I'm saying? Disagree, agree, whatever, but the proof is there. He's shooting the ball. So, I mean, that's all we need is Ben Simmons to just start believing in himself. And I think it's some in that Philadelphia energy to where it's like, a player like Ben Simmons can't succeed together with Embiid, and I don't think he can just succeed there overall. So I think Toronto go ahead and bring Kyle Lowry in, who can help. Doc Rivers normally do good with a good point guard anyway. Minnesota, who a lot of people are saying, okay, fine, whatever. Fine, whatever. But no, Minnesota, you match it with Cat, and I think they go tit for tat. They'll complement each other very well. You bring in D'Angelo Russell, or another team who I like to see is actually Washington. You know what I'm saying? Bring in somebody like either Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal. One of the two. Of course, you can't get both of Ben Simmons, but you do get a point guard in Russell Westbrook, who we saw just turned up the Wizards. And you get somebody with Brad Beal that can help get the ball. So I mean, it'll actually be a win-win for both teams. So
you trying to star something?
I was gonna say Westbrook and Embiid.
Exactly. Westbrook and Embiid cannot stand each other. You trying to
star
something?
No, that's true. That's true. But if I've seen teammates be like, "Yo, I just want to win."
Yeah, they'll come together.
They'll come, especially with what I'm saying, with the team that's around. Like Philly got a great team. They just don't have that spark that Westbrook, I know, would for sure provide their team instantly. Hell, he'll shoot the ball. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. He'll do everything Ben Simmons will do.
Them FGA's gonna be up. Them field goal attempts gonna be up there.
You gotta worry about that.
You ain't gotta worry about that.
As much as they don't like each other, and I kind of thought about that too, is like Embiid and Westbrook actually complement each other very, very well. So of course, I'm here to start something.
He'll definitely grab all the rebounds.
Hey, Embiid ain't got to since he likes staying at the 3-point line anyway. But that's neither here nor there. Trevor, it's on you, buddy.
Nah, we actually
the
second time we actually gotta skip the coaches, so we'll get to that next week. A lot of coaching hires happen around the league, but second time we gotta move forward because we gotta give the women their due. So Sheedy.
Yes. I really actually should have did more about women altogether, but De'Aaron Fox.
That's a good one, Jalen.
That's
a good one, Jalen.
De'Aaron's he's getting a lot of money though too from Sacramento, so they had to give up some chips from Philly.
Ben Simmons getting a lot of money too.
Ben Simmons getting a lot of money.
They match. The salaries match.
I think Darren's getting more. That's the crazy part.
And Ben Simmons are like that Cali weather. Ooh, hey, that's a good
And be
one.
with Luke Walton, another coach that ain't doing nothing for him.
Damn it.
Anyways, hi, baby. Come on. So Miss Sha'Charri Richardson. First of all, let me give you this date. March 25th, 2000. Y'all feel old yet? That's when she was born.
Not yet.
At least you're Leo.
Yep.
Okay. But I just want I want to read you some stats about her personally before we talk about this. So in 2019, of course, she actually attended LSU. She ran a 10.75 in 100 meters. She broke the 100-meter record at that time and became one of the 10 most fastest women in history. As of this year, she ran 100 again and got her personal best of 10.72. That's the 6th fastest time by a woman ever. It's the 4th fastest by an American woman ever. Not like this year, not like in the past 20 years. Since this has been going on, she is legitimately the 4th fastest American woman, 6th fastest woman in the history of doing it. With that bright hair and being black. Love to see it. Also, shout out to, well, I'll let y'all talk about Richardson first, and I got another one to talk about. But how you guys feel about seeing that whole progression? Not just her killing in the 100 meters, but then this also her post, I'll say post game, but her post run celebration as well.
If possible, let me. Go ahead, Sha'Charri.
No, you go.
I was going to say what I've liked about, not just her performances that she's had in the Olympic trials, but how she speaks, like when she's interviewed right after, and I wanted to bring this up because when we did schooling with Sheedy last week, I mentioned how I want to bring up Eva, and what I'm going to instill in Eva, what I'm going to always push her to believe and say is I'm that athlete, I'm that person, like I'm basically. Excuse my language, I'm the shit, essentially. And that's what I've loved, that she's continuously said every time, like, I'm that athlete. I know exactly what I can do. And I'm going to, every time I step foot on this track, I'm going to show you exactly what I can do. So I've loved, not just her performance, but the confidence that exactly, Jalen, like her attitude that she's had with everything. Like, I absolutely loved it. And I cannot wait for the Olympics for her to, to compete. So I'm ready to see the hair. It's the nails and stuff for me too. Like, I don't care, whatever you want to say about her, she is that person. She is that athlete. And I can't wait to see her to continue to run.
Yep, man. Everything Scout said. Then her grandmama had just died recently, or I remember she had a post-game speech.
It was her mom.
Her mama, yeah. Her mom, yeah. That was like a very emotional speech after winning. And I'm like, just like you said, like Jaden said, her attitude, just her persona, everything is great about her. I think my fiance said she's seen posts about men talking about she's masculine or yada yada. Why we always gotta do that? Why? Like, let's just celebrate. Like, come on, man. And I saw another thing from Simone Biles. She had some goat sample song. So just shout out to all Olympic women everywhere. But Sha'Charri Richardson, I'm expect to see great things from her. Yeah, and she's on her way to greatness.
Yes, bring home the gold, man. That's all you really need at this point. Just bring home a gold medal. Everything else will fall into place, man. I echo pretty much what everyone else has said, man. Big kudos, and I think Sheedy may recognize it, and I age ourselves here, but I'm catching a lot of FloJo vibes here. Florence Griffin Joyner. For those who don't know who Florence Griffin Joyner is, do your research. Exactly what Sha'Charri Richardson is doing, FloJo was doing the exact same thing back in the day, and just. I'm happy, man. I'm excited. So all Richardson needs to do at this point, just bring home the gold in the Olympics. That's it. Like you got me as a fan already. Just bring home the gold. That's it. That's all I got.
All I got to say is I know she can't beat me in a race. But now
you smoking some different type of weed over there, sir.
Hey man, we got.
I'm trying to find what pack you smoking up there.
The weed.
He on that Draco,
No.
man. He on the big Draco. He was on yesterday.
Hey, man,
And you
y'all-
want, and
y'all
you
know
wonder
about
why
it.
I call, and you know why I call you Michael from The Office, because you capping just like Michael sometimes.
Love you, Jalen dog. Hey man, congratulations on the wedding, Jalen. But just I guess
Yes,
a real
congratulations.
oh, not a wedding engagement. I'm sorry, wedding happy engagement. But we're talking real talk, right? So I love the fact that the culture is becoming synonymous with everything. And what I mean by the culture is that 10 years ago, Sha'Charri Richardson would have been advised rather to, hey, don't go in there with that hair. Hey, them nails, you need to look more professional. And now we're at a point now where we talk about like Trae Young, the youngsters don't care no more. They hear this is their moment and they're gonna take advantage of that moment. And what we're saying with Sha'Charri Richardson and Simone Giles with the GOAT shoes, these women, these young ladies are having the confidence, these young men as well, but specifically now these young ladies are having the most confidence that we're seeing. You know what I'm saying? The black fathers, y'all are in y'all daughters' lives, and it's a beautiful thing to see. You know what I'm saying? Sha'Charri, she has the motivation, the extra push to get her over the top. And she's going to do that with her orange hair. Or I'm hoping, since she's repping USA, she do some, red, white, and blue with it. But that'll be pretty cool. But, just the culture is here. The culture is here to stay. There's the young people that's in the game that's continuing to bring that funk forward, because that's what we're about. You know what I'm saying? Black people in America, we've always been here, and it's our time to continue to shine. And so salute to the black men and women that are out here doing their thing. But Sha'Charri Richardson, you got it. Like we all want you to do, go ahead and bring on the gold so you can go ahead and get the flowers that you definitely deserve.
Yeah, and before we go over to the next segment, definitely had the FloJo reference ready, Trevor, so I appreciate you. But to Skylar, to your point about her talking about she's the best, y'all didn't hear them stats? She is the best. She is quite possible.
I beat her.
So, Jalen, come on back on the show and let him know that he's capping. But, like, legitimately, she's the 4th fastest American ever. She's the 6th fastest woman ever in history. And so, yes, she's going to do what she got to do. Shout out to Simone doing what she's doing, gymnastics. This has literally, to me, I've never seen this much hype for our Olympics, let alone for our black women in the Olympics. And that is what gets me so excited, because let's be honest, when we watch the Olympics, basketball, outside of basketball, there's not really much we can watch besides track and field, and now gymnastics as well. But track and field now is going to be tuned in on every black person's television because of Sha'Charri Richardson. It's because of her. And there's another lady, golly, Felix. No. I'll come back with her name. Who's running for the 200s. And she actually was disowned by Nike because of her got her scar from giving birth. Thank you, Simone Manuel, young black swimmer. See, we're everywhere. And let's not talk about basketball. So when we get to the Olympics and stuff like that, let's push ourselves to not do all about basketball. I'm not saying this podcast alone. I'm saying all of us as black people, because our black people are doing great in other sports besides the ones that we're always going to dominate. And I'm gonna keep it like that. But sometimes you get bored, though. So what happens when you get bored?
You're bored. But back to your point,
See what you did there.
Back to your point, we be better basketball and football. So we'll make sure we integrate the Olympics in all three, because training camp be started at the time as well. We got to get our rankings out. But I got the first year board, and I know all of y'all seen this on Twitter. I didn't tweet on it because I know I was going to talk about it. I'm going to make a Let's Tighten Up episode coming this week about Memphis and Nashville, as a matter of fact. But let's go and start with Mr. Jake and Hoops. If you can move an NBA franchise from one city to another, which will you move? This guy lives in Nashville. Number one for me has to be Grizzlies from Memphis to Nashville. The crowds at Predators games are insane. Guaranteed NBA games will be wild. Memphis fans drug him, and he deleted his tweet. He's bored, right?
Yeah. So let me pick this apart just a little bit,
Hold
right?
on,
So
hold on. Before you go, Scholar, because he deleted the tweet, but he re-quoted the tweet to say, "Hey, this how I feel about y'all."
How can you retweet a deleted tweet? So I can kill me.
So if we want to be real, if we want to be honest, you know what I'm saying? Last time I checked, you know, Memphis is full of black people. Memphis is full of, Memphis is full of black people, right? So the part of this tweet that I want to pick out is he says the crowds at Predators games are insane. The last time I checked, Nashville Predators were a National Hockey League team. The Memphis Grizzlies are a National Basketball League team. So you trying to compare fans at Predators games versus fans at Grizzlies games? He's probably haven't been to a Memphis Grizzlies games for him to say that. Like, this is beyond bored. This is beyond crazy. Like, first, like what? Like, first of all, let Memphis get a football team. Like, let Memphis get a national football. Gee, we gonna turn that place out. You already see what we do at Grizzlies games. First of all, whoop that trick. You have white people saying whoop the trick, and they have no idea where it came from.
That is true, though. That's true.
They have no idea what
is
means.
a trick? Are you saying
like a cereal?
Yeah.
What
tricks?
But you would think if he was gonna make this case, you would think he would at least reference the Titans here as opposed to the Nashville Predators. You could have referenced the Titans. You could have referenced that, hey, we had the NFL draft here in Nashville. Like, you could at least use those 2 points to at least beef this up a little bit. But yeah, you don't have a great basketball culture. So, and if we really want to be real, and shout out to Bryce because he made it a very interesting point. If Memphis wasn't so stubborn, we'd have the Titans right now.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Jake and Hoops, be grateful that you have the Predators and the Titans right now because that's all I got to say.
You should have tweeted that to him. You should tweet that.
Bryce did.
Bryce did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was. I'm giving my credit where it's due because I didn't originally say it. Bryce did. So hey, that was I got.
Cool.
You got to cite your sources. Unlike the media, most but that's another story.
Well,
they just tell you to go cry.
Yeah.
Before we move on, and this might just be me settling my ways into being a Memphian, but did someone slip something in his rotel? For him to be saying
this. People in Nashville eat rotel.
No, they eat cheese dip.
I don't think that's a thing. I think it's a thing.
That's a good one.
I see what you did there too.
That's a nice one.
They eat cheese dip.
She, did you have another point on this?
I know that was it.
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
I have an actual. Yeah, he's bored. I have an actual year board that I stumbled across on Twitter, and I'm doing this because I gotta defend my alien brother here. So, of course, we always trash the First Take and all the other shows that Fox puts on because half the time they don't always tell the truth. So I guess this Marcellus Wiley show that he has, him and his co-host. So, of course, Scottie Pippen has been on the news for all the crazy stuff that he has said. So the question that was posed to this show was, which career would you rather have? Would you rather have Kevin Durant's career as of today or Scottie Pippen's entire career as a whole? So the co-host got on and said that he'd much rather have Scottie Pippen's career. And his reasoning for it is, I would much rather be the greatest Robin as opposed to trying to be a Batman. And to reference his statement, he used a TLC and Destiny's Child reference. He said, which would you rather be? Would you rather be T-Boz or Kelly Rowland? And yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The floor is y'all's if y'all got anything. Obviously, no.
He's bored with that comparison. He's bored, very bored. That's worse than the We get to that too. About to get to that one. That's worse than the comparison I heard.
Why do people like bullying Kevin Durant? Like we for one, the whole Scottie Pippen Kevin Durant thing, that's a whole BS. Chance him out. Hey man, Jalen, that's another talk for another day, but I'm gonna just say I agree with you. Scottie, like, of course, Scottie Pippen came out and said what he said about, you know, Kevin Durant not being a quote unquote team player, even though Scottie Pippen was the one that sat his ass down when the coach wrote up a play for Tony Kukoc. He the one that got mad and said F this team while watching Tony Kukoc win the team the game. Way to be a team player, Scottie Pippen. But as far as a dude on whatever show that is, I'll definitely rather be Kevin Durant. I mean, couple finals MVP, and he got a bag from investing in Coinbase, which he got when he was at the Golden State Warriors. So neither here and there.
Yeah, I think the question of, you know, who would you rather be, or which career would you rather have, the Scottie Pippen or Kevin Durant? I think that's a fairly decent question. But if you had to ask me, I would rather have had Kevin Durant's career, only because, and I say only because I wouldn't mind having Scottie Pippen's, but I would really like to know how it is to be able to shoot like that. Like knowing, like, because I said this about Steph Curry all the time. Like, I would love to be Steph Curry for an hour, to know that the moment I walk in the gym, I'm in range. And what I say about Kevin Durant all the time is Kevin Durant, in my opinion, can go out and get 40 any night he wants to. And not too many players can say that. And I would like to know what it feels like to know I can pull up from 35, be in range, and it's going in 55% of the time. I think that's the only thing. Like, Scottie couldn't shoot as well as Kevin Durant would. That would be my tiebreaker for me. But Scottie Pippen didn't have a bad career either. 6 up, 6 down. You know, 6 championships, and you play with Michael Jordan. To each his own. But again, for me, the moving of the needle for me is how well Kevin Durant can score the ball. To what Jalen just said.
Yeah, and that to help close this out, I would take T-Boz or Kelly Rowland's career. To be honest, I'm not even.
Let's be real.
Exactly.
What he talking about?
That's what I was answering too.
Yeah, like I mean, they really had a career even after they, you know, left the Waterfalls and Destiny's Child. To be honest, did really well.
You pushed me on that one.
Trying to get your own segment on your board now. Come on.
Yeah, you pushed me on that one, bro.
What?
You pushed it.
Yeah.
After what?
Prime Iggy,
Prime Iggy or Prime Scotty?
Come on now.
Come on.
Oh, I didn't even see that comment. Oh,
okay.
Prime Iggy still couldn't shoot.
That's true.
Ooh. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he can come on back. That's not even a question. I'm done. I'm sorry. I didn't even see that. Prime Iggy versus Prime.
What does Prime Iggy look like, first of all?
Y'all forgot that Jalen saw Prime Iggy.
He said skill last night much.
Jalen is a Nuggets fan, so he actually saw Prime Iggy. So I mean,
what did they do?
What about production?
Go back to the
I'm not a basketball I am, but I mean, I guess I do have a year board. Yes. Oh, one more thing. Kevin Durant actually played in a movie. So yeah, that's neither here and there. To another great person who actually played in a movie based off of his career thriving and elsewhere. Last night we had the verses.
You deserve a board for referencing Kevin Durant's movie, but continue.
Hey man, I'm just representing the GOAT because you know Bow Wow was in a movie.
Shazam.
You know what I'm saying? Shazam. Hey, you know that's neither here and there. But no, of course, we saw the verses last night. Bow Wow versus Soulja Boy. I thought it was probably the most entertaining one that we've had so far. Of course, we can give our thoughts if we want, but they also brought out another one of my childhood favorite artists by the name of Lil Romeo. And I'm happy that he actually got his 10 seconds of fame because he damn sure to me deserves it. But one thing that he said that kind of irked me just a little bit was that the fact that he said that Bow Wow was Jordan, which I agree with. Debate me if you want. Soulja Boy was LeBron, the way he innovated the things, which is true, in our generation. And he was Kobe. So the question that I have, and I'll give my answer, but the question is, who do y'all think that Lil Romeo would be? What player would be similar? He mentioned in I forgot what song it is. I think it's the My Cinderella with Nick Cannon. Don't ask me how I know that because, like I said, I was a Romeo fan. And y'all know how I feel about Nick Cannon. So of course, naturally, I listen to it. And I think in that song, he referenced to himself as Tracy McGrady. I actually like that comparison. Tracy McGrady.
I won't smoke. Already.
I knew you have a problem with that. Here's what I say about it. In our generation, is like Tracy McGrady and Romeo had hit records. He had a hit album. He was fortunately going against Bow Wow as competition for that guy to be number one. And Romeo did have a hit TV show, and I'm pretty sure he's getting a bag for being the spokesperson for ICDC College. Like, what other rappers are being the spokesperson for college? And we rap about them however we want, but he's getting a bag.
Music. Because you can't bring a TV show to Versus.
He tried
the music, exactly.
He tried it.
If he would have started rapping ICDC College, he would have turned that place up last night.
No.
Versus with the end. You would end after that.
Let's be real. He had a spot on USC's basketball team because he's cool with DeMar DeRozan. Let's be real here.
And he's Masterpiece son.
And thank you. And he's Masterpiece son. So
not disrespect to Lil Romeo, but you're bored too. Before even asking this, he was bored for saying that yesterday.
Okay, but I'm saying let's have some fun. Like what?
Harold Miner is the name I saw yesterday.
Bingo.
Brandon Roy comes to mind.
Oh, that's disrespectful to Brandon Roy.
Well, he did have a short. He had a short. I get Scout.
He had a short.
Okay. That's a good one, Scout.
Because guess what? My problem with Lil Romeo, because he tried to put himself on this pedestal as if he was up there with Bow, as if he was up there with Soulja Boy. Lil Romeo had that much of a career. Now, granted, Brandon Roy was great, but guess what? Brandon Roy's career is about that big.
That's a good one.
So how about Darren Williams?
No, Brandon Roy. Darren Williams had a little longer one. Darren Williams had a legit prime before he started getting hurt.
That's true.
Okay. I see the longevity part. Okay. I'll back off on that one, Scott.
So Brandon Roy, I like Brandon Roy though.
I like them. Those are great.
I like that's the goal.
Yeah.
So he's a Brandon Roy. Okay.
That's a stretch.
And the bad part about this is that it wasn't injuries that took him out the game. It was just him not being able to rap, which is him out the game. Next topic.
That was a great your boy segment.
It was.
Oh man, it was nice to see. It's nice to be back out.
Yes.
I miss y'all, man. Great
football. That's what I miss.
All right, man. It does for this week. Next week, it'll be 4th of July, but it should be our 3-year anniversary. Or 4-year, right? 3-year. Yeah, we did right. 3-year.
Damn. We made it.
Yep.
Yeah, we made it. I might try to play this song. Talk about some hold on. Wait to the end of the song for that slow ass.
Hey, his DJ slowed out because all you gotta do is have certain cue points. Boom, this Soulja Boy verse. You should know that. We shouldn't have to sit through 2 Drake verses.
No,
I love Drake, but Soulja goes straight
you do one Drake verse, Soulja Boy doing the hook or whatever, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. That's who were bored. His DJs were bored, trying to act like they were just code or something. Or one DJ, or another hype man and academics, and I don't know what the other dude was doing.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Like I said, coming up, got new Titans. Let's Titans come up about Memphis Nashville, going deeper dive with it because another guy from Memphis tweeted about the Titans and y'all. So Brandon on this week. And
episode 2 of Lynchburg County will be out this week, talking about mini camp and the recent moves made. So be on the lookout this week for that.
And before we go, I think there's big news coming out of Memphis basketball coming very soon. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so. Shout out to everyone that was a part of assignment 3 for Schooling with Sheedy about fatherhood. We're coming with assignment 4. So not episode 4, but assignment 4. Because 22 and a half years ain't long enough. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. 22 and a half ain't good enough. Our Juneteenth wasn't good enough. We need to talk about it.
I like it. I like it. And of course, I guess on my side, what's a network without music, right? So we gonna have some fun on the 4th of July. I'm getting a team together, and we gonna do what it do.
All right. One last comment for Jalen. I guess he's referencing Brandon Roy. I'm assuming you don't drink milk, kiss balls week.
Bird had knee problems at Washington, so I can see.
Yeah. Maybe need some of those rap snacks from Romeo.
All right, cut it off.
All right,
and on that point.
Good episode. See
She
you next
make it
time.
clap. She make it clap.
All right, cut.
See you.